So I finally got my fully spec'd out M1 Max MacBook Pro 14-inch last week, and man, it is such a pleasure to work with. Last week, I gave you some first impressions and I took you through my process of the first essential things I do every time I install a new Mac. But of course, I'm constantly trying to improve my workflow and make working on these machines even more efficient and enjoyable. So here are some of the best accessories for this new MacBook. Let's ramble.
Hold up, place go wild when I pull up. They all on me like it wants.
Hey, what is up guys? It is great to see you all again. And if you're new here, I'm Patrick and this is where I ramble about tech and other stuff. So like I said in the introduction, I did a video last week on the first things you should do when getting a new MacBook Pro. So if you just bought one of these or you're thinking about buying one, be sure to check out that video as well. I'll put a link to that video at the end of this one. Right, so let's talk accessories. I love watching these videos myself, and since you clicked on this video, I'm guessing you do too. I have a great list of 11 accessories today. Some of them you will be familiar with, but they are such staples that I can't, in good conscience, do a best accessories video without at least mentioning them. But I also made sure to put a few accessories in there you may have never heard of, so be sure to stick around for those. All right, so let's start with the bag. Every MacBook deserves a good home, and my favorite bag is still the Everyday Backpack by Peak Design. This is the 20-liter version, and it is just the perfect size for me. The MacBook fits in there easily, and it sits very well protected against the back. There is plenty of padding to protect your bag and your shoulders. The Peak Design is essentially a camera bag, so it also opens from the sides, and it has these shelves for lenses and stuff, but you can take them all out of the bag and just use it as a regular backpack, if that's what you prefer. I did review this bag in much more detail before. I'll put links in the description if you're interested. But for now, I will just say that this is probably one of the best bags out there, and I highly, highly recommend it. Inside the bag is a smaller bag, or rather a pouch, which is also made by Peak Design, and this thing excites me a little more than it probably should, but we're all nerds here, so I'm sure you understand. This is the Peak Design accessories pouch, which holds all of my chargers, my mouse, my other little tech knickknacks I carry with me pretty much everywhere. It has a pretty unique design in that it folds open origami style rather than flat on the table like most other tech organizers, and it can hold a surprising amount of gear. Got a little Spuds microfiber cloth attached to it for those sticky fingerprints. And inside the pouch, I have a few more MacBook accessories I want to show you, but first I need to show you this absolutely beautiful MacBook sleeve. This was sent to me by a company called Walnut, and they make the most stunning, high-quality accessories for all of our Apple gear. The company was founded in Stockholm, Sweden, here in Europe, but do not worry, they ship all over the world. I'm a firm believer in investing into a decent bag and a case that both look the part and also protect your devices. I never really understood how somebody can spend thousands of dollars on a top-of-the-line piece of tech and then stick it in a $5 neoprene case from Amazon. That's just wrong. This beautiful MacBook deserves a good home, and just look at this case. Beautiful, soft, cognac brown, full-grain leather from Scandinavia, lined with a 100% natural wool felt from Germany. It has these handy little pockets for credit cards or business cards, and to top it all off, it's got YKK metal zippers that feel like they will last longer than the MacBook itself. Absolutely love this thing, and a big thank you to Walnut for sending this over. Right, back to hardware. We have the new Apple Magic Keyboard with Touch ID. Not really much to say about it. It's pretty much the same as the old Magic Keyboard, but having Touch ID to unlock your MacBook is super useful, especially if you're like me and you use it in clamshell mode all the time, hooked up to an external monitor. That way you can still unlock it using your fingerprint. Alternatively, you can also use your Apple Watch. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I only found out last week that you can actually unlock your Mac using your Apple Watch. And when I told some of my techie friends, they looked at me like I was missing a few, and they went like, yeah dude, that's like the main reason I even bought this Apple Watch. Okay, anyway, if you're like me and you didn't know, all you have to do to activate this feature is go into System Preferences, Security and Privacy, and check the box next to Use your Apple Watch to unlock apps and your Mac. And now you will basically never have to use your password again. Yeah. Next in line of the I wish I'd known this earlier accessories are the AirPods Pro. For the longest time, I have avoided AirPods because they would never really stay in my ears and I didn't think they sounded that great, so I stuck with my trusty old Jabra Elite T65s. But recently, I was convinced to try the AirPods Pro that have the tips at the end, and these actually do stay in my ears and they sound amazing. I love spatial audio. The noise cancelling is pretty good considering they're only earbuds, and of course they are made by Apple, which means seamless integration with all of your Apple products. I can switch between my iPhone, my iPad, and my MacBook, and they will pair and switch instantly. The leather case is by Nomad, by the way. Shout out to them for sending me this. If you like quality leather accessories, do check them out. They make some really, really nice stuff. I'll put a link in the description. These are now my favorite in-ear buds to use with the new MacBook Pro, and I can't wait to see the new version of these when they come out later this year. Another accessory that I just have to mention briefly is my trusty MX Master 3. This is just hands down the best mouse there is. It's ergonomic, efficient, the magnetic scroll wheel is ridiculously fast, and if you're into video editing, I don't even know how you live without a thumb wheel. If you're on a Mac and you don't already own this mouse, go order it right now. Don't even finish the video. I won't even be mad. Just do yourself a favor. All right, moving on to hubs. Apple finally brought back some of the I/O. We finally have all the main ports back on the actual MacBook body. We have a couple of Thunderbolt ports, HDMI, an audio jack, the new MagSafe port, and of course the SD card slot, which is a dream for us creators. But we're all tech heads and there is no such thing as enough ports. So I basically use two types of hubs to provide even more ports for the MacBook Pro. At my desk at home, I have two of these Thunderbolt 4 hubs by Anker. These are amazing value for money. They give you 3 extra Thunderbolt ports and 1 USB-A port, which is very useful as it is not present on the MacBook itself. It comes with a huge power brick, which means it can actually power your MacBook as well, but it also means that it's not really ideal for travel. This little guy, however, is. This is the Acasis hub, and if you've been to the channel before, you've probably seen this thing before. It's not a Thunderbolt hub, but it's a USB-C hub. But for travel, this is absolutely perfect. Not only does it provide all the additional ports you might possibly need, this thing has one massive trick up its sleeve, and that is that it doubles as a mass storage device. How? Well, I'm glad you asked. When we pop off this lid, we see that this hub is actually a full-blown NVMe SSD enclosure. And as you may have noticed, NVMe enclosures are becoming more and more popular as cheaper and more efficient alternatives to dedicated external SSDs. The reason being that you can stick basically whatever internal SSD you want in there and make it external. That means you can get like a 4 terabyte drive for the price of say a 1 terabyte drive without losing any speed. If you want to know more about this thing, I did a video a while ago and I'll put a link in the description of where you can currently order it. Also, if you enjoy videos like this one and you haven't subscribed already, now would be a good time. I upload at least once a week, so plenty of fresh content coming your way. Just as a comparison, this is my favorite external SSD. It's blazing fast with speeds up to 2800 Mbps, but it costs $400 for 1 terabyte. It is waterproof and the Acasis most definitely isn't. But anyway, you get my point. The Acasis is a very interesting alternative, especially since it's much more than just storage. Now, for my most useful, most interesting accessory by far, the Elgato Stream Deck. Now, hear me out because I can already hear you thinking, I'm not a streamer, neither am I. But what I learned recently is that you can actually program these things to become your ultimate productivity booster. The way I've set up mine has absolutely nothing to do with streaming, but it has tremendously enhanced my workflow. For those of you who are not familiar with the Stream Deck, it is basically a collection of programmable macro keys underneath little LED panels, which is nice because you can actually assign icons to your keys. It has 15 keys, but every key can have subfolders or profiles, so in reality, you will have way more than just the 15 physical ones. So without going into too much detail, because I could spend a whole series of videos just on this device, but I set up my home screen to display hotkeys to my favorite apps like Evernote, Notion, Zoom, and email, as well as access to my Ring doorbell, my security cameras, the lights in my office, and my most used emojis. Every key has been programmed to do one or more actions. So if I press the Notion key, it will open up my Notion app, but it will also open up an instance of Notion in the Chrome browser. Notion doesn't allow you to open up 2 windows of the actual app, so this is a way to circumvent that. Same goes for zoom. If I press the button, it will open up my zoom app and it will navigate to another layer of buttons I programmed to do the main actions within Zoom, like turn my camera on and off, mute and unmute the mic, or leave the meeting. I also added a row of keys that control my Elgato key light to light myself and the lights in my office to match the type of Zoom call I'm actually in. I could go on and on about this thing, but if you're looking for a really unique MacBook accessory to boost your productivity, definitely give this a try. There is a smaller version as well as a bigger one, but I find the 15 keys is the sweet spot for me. Alright guys, if the video was useful to you, please give it one of these. It really does help the channel. Subscribe for more content and see you in the next one.